Ooh,
Good
sweet.
afternoon, good evening, and good night, everyone. Welcome to KerbSide Collections with me, Adam Ritchie, a podcast about physical media collectors for physical media collectors. Join me as I burrow into the psyche of this episode's ever collector, Julian Myers. Welcome to the show, Julian. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah,
Tell
surviving.
surviving. Yeah, it's the best we can do, isn't it? Tell the listeners what part of the world you are from, or tell the world. Same thing.
I'm from Melbourne, Australia, the best place in the Australia, according to my partner who went to America for 6 months. Yeah, no, I'm just, I don't know, existing here. I've got my thousands of movies to keep me company.
Nice.
And
Well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's why we've got you on, isn't it? Now, I used to live in Melbourne back in the day. I used to live out in Ferntree Gully. What suburb are you in, if you don't mind
I'm
divulging?
down south area, the north of Mornington. I don't want to be too
Oh,
specific,
okay.
but it's
Yep,
down
yep, yep,
south.
yep.
I used to live up near Preston area, but moved down here. It's just
Right.
nicer.
North of Mornington, not Frankston.
Yes, well, I'm close to like the Astor, which is nice because that's where I go to every couple of weekends for my
Yep.
film group that I'm with. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Oh,
yeah,
cool. I'd like to hear more about that a bit
yeah,
later if you want. Yeah.
yeah,
So
of
yeah,
course.
down on the bay. That's nice. I went down there once. Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the
Mm,
world. It really is.
yeah.
I guess getting stuck straight into it then. So why do you collect physical media with all the streaming options that we have nowadays?
Well, I'll be honest, like it started with my dad because he was big into buying CDs and DVDs. So I grew up with
Mm,
hundreds of DVDs of films. But for me personally, it became after I started getting Blu-rays for my birthday back in like 2010 period. I was pirating a lot of movies
yeah,
because
yeah,
then when
yep.
you're a teenager and you got the internet, you're pirating everything. And I had this like slight sense of guilt, like I need to actually like contribute after you get all these. Australia has a lot of ads saying piracy's bad, and I'm like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to contribute, but I'm also contributing because it's the system. But yeah, no, once I started getting my money, it just became you know what, I'm already studying film because that was by 2017,
Yeah.
and I just loved movies, so I just started buying every bloody movie I could find.
That's
So,
awesome. That's a
yeah.
that's a pretty common thread that movie. Obviously, you have to love movies. Like people who love music will buy vinyl. So
Mm.
your film studies, what's can you expand a little bit on that? Because that's
Yeah.
really,
I have a Bachelor in Media and Communications from Swinburne University. I did a
oh yeah,
film studies degree. Well, that was my major. My minor was like creative writing or some bullshit. I don't know who it got boring
yeah.
quick. It was mostly like film history
Oh,
and
sweet.
studying film. So because I just picked up that in late high school and realized, I love science, but oh my God, films, they're kind of cool.
Mm.
So yeah,
Film can be sciencey, like that's why we have the Academy, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So do you make films? Do you write films or anything
Um,
like that? Or
I pre-pandemic would do a lot of short films, mostly for
oh yeah,
school and for uni and for my own free time, whatever. I
hmm,
was big into like David Lynch and surrealist stuff,
yeah,
so I experimented a
okay,
lot. I haven't done a short film in a while. Like I've written a couple, but it's mostly just I'm lazy and I don't know enough people who make
yeah,
like who actually act in films. I know a lot of people who make films. I just don't know a lot of people
right.
who work in film.
Huh.
And yeah, I just got around to just collecting physical media more and talking about that, and that's just taken more time. Just like,
Yep.
it's found more of an audience doing that than actually making
Okay.
films. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It is a pretty a vast subculture, the whole
Mm.
physical media stuff. So you said to study film history. Do you love older movies?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, I grew up watching films from the 1910s all the way to
Mm,
current day. Like I was watching
nice.
Metropolis as a child. Like, so I've never been like bigoted towards any kind of specific time period of
Mm,
film. Like I have my favorite decades, but like my
okay.
favorite year is 1977 for films. But like, I'm
Star
just
Wars.
Star Wars, yeah, but like Eraserhead, Suspiria, even Orca that
Mm,
I watched today,
yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of great 70s films that I just really love. I don't know why that's a bloody weird year, but I mean, a lot of good
Oh,
films.
the 70s is look. I love my old cinema as well. I actually used to write a column for a website called 20th Century Flicks, where I used to write about movies before in the 20th century, then and basically try and see if they hold up to modern eyes. Some do, some don't, obviously. But I've kind of found along the way that the 70s was really a kick-ass decade for films. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's just some incredible cinema comes out of that time. And I'm actually toying with the idea of starting another show about older cinema. So anyway, yeah, anyway, that's just on the top of my head. That's just film history really interests me. So the fact that you studied it is even more interesting to me. So I guess on with the show, to be honest. So do you still watch streaming at all, or is it basically just your physical movies?
No, I still stream. I still currently live with family, so they will actively subscribe to Disney Plus and Netflix and whatever, so I don't have to pay for them, which is great for
Yeah,
me.
okay.
So if there's anything that becomes really interesting that I want to watch, or I do group watches with friends every couple of weeks where we just get on Discord, watch some films, and we'll just go for whatever streaming service we all collectively have.
Okay.
But the only one I'm actively actually paying for and happily watching is the Criterion channel because outside of that, it's
Yes.
like binge and stan and whatever. I'll just subscribe for TV shows like Paramount, whatever. If there's a show I
Hmm.
want to watch, Apple, there's a show I want to watch, I'll watch it and I'll stop the subscription as quickly as possible.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's going to be a common thing going forward. They're all getting a bit pricey, but that's interesting. I know we spoke the other night about the
the
whole
the channel,
Criterion
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm so keen. I really need to pull my thumb out my ass and look into that because yeah, Criterion does some good stuff.
I'd argue the only problem with the Criterion channel, like outside of you need a VPN to create the membership, but you don't need
Mm,
one afterwards, is that it's USD price, so it varies between 15 to $20 a month.
okay.
Um, you can pause it for up to 3 months at a time, which is wonderful. But I can only use it on like there's no app in Australia to use on your TV, so
Oh,
you have to like hook up a TV or a tablet or probably a Chromecast or something. I just hook up my MacBook to my TV and just click the space bar, and there we
right.
go.
You
So
just
I'm
mirror it to your TV.
no, I hook it up via HDMI.
Ah,
Go old
gotcha.
fashioned, yeah. So
Gotcha.
it's
Okay.
a bit more annoying, especially if like someone comes in or if I get a phone call, I gotta get up
Yeah.
and pause it on my Mac and then can do all the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
streaming, so it just takes it. It's just if it starts buffering, it just does my head in. So that's why
Is that because of the dis? Is that because of the distance? Is that a stupid question? I
I
don't
think
know.
it's just I probably have more buffering from Criterion than any other streaming service, but it can
Yeah.
depend. If we have a lot of people in the household using the internet, people
Hmm.
uploading, downloading all kinds of shit, then
Yeah.
yeah, but our most avid user of the internet, my older brother, recently moved out, so it's cleared up a lot of space internet
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Like
Fair enough.
I'm in his old room now and I'm hooked directly into the internet because I used to just be wireless, so now I'm hooked in, which is great.
Straight into the internet. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Oh.
Do you have anything in your collection that you're most proud of owning? Anything that you have on display, like a trophy that that you want people to see when they come in?
God, in terms of a physical media release, it would be the Suspiria Steelbook. I think
Hmm.
it was Synapse did a limited
Yeah.
6,000 units, and I'm not
Hmm.
huge into Steelbooks anymore, but I
Mm.
collect them every once in a while, mostly just because they usually come with Blu-rays and better artwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a stunning piece of art,
Yeah.
and
I've
it's
seen
just
that.
one that I've
Yeah.
always just it's buried on the shelf so no one can see it. But eventually, one day when I don't have to worry about random people coming by and just touching my stuff, I've got my brother, he has parties and shit. I got to deal with that.
Ah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, that's my most prized, probably physical media release, or at least in
Mm.
terms of like rare and expensive, because I think that's probably the
Hmm.
most I've spent on. I mean, outside of like the Super Mario set from bloody Umbrella, which
Yeah. Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
I think those are the most expensive things I've
They
bought as single film options.
that the prices, do they?
No, I did do a video on that recently, which should be coming out in a couple days' time.
Okay.
Like that was one of those, damn, this shit's expensive. And I'm like comparing that with Imprint with their never-ending story set, and it's like what I think
Yeah.
justifies a pricey
Yeah.
purchase. So it's a thing.
The
It's a
packaging has
thing.
a lot to do with the pricing, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It
But I
really does.
respected Umbrellas more in terms of the variety of stuff of all the books and stuff, in contrast to just one big
Mm.
book. But I can understand a big book is expensive to make. I got a friend who buys limited edition books like that, and they're just like,
Right.
yeah, that shit is not cheap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, but that's not for me to deal with. I'm not spending $250. I'm
No,
good.
no,
I'm
hell no.
good.
No, I've got a never-ending story Blu-ray, and that will be good enough for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be cool if they released standard editions down the track. You'd hope
I'd
they
I'd
would.
hope. I had emailed them. They said that they weren't planning to, but that could just be a
Mm,
for now because we want the limited edition to sell out. And I'm like, That's cool.
Yeah.
I want, because I know the guy who runs Imprint, and he had told me about
Ah,
it
yeah.
months before it was announced, and I was like, oh wow,
Ah,
I'm excited for that. And then I saw the price, I'm like, oh damn, if only I
yeah.
actually had seen the film and cared about it. I've never seen it, so
Oh, haven't you seen it? Okay.
no, I don't have that attachment to it. So it's like if I
Yeah.
loved it, I might be like,
Fair.
you know what, sure, but I don't. So I just gotta find a different copy eventually
One
or
of
stream it.
well, yeah, you could import it, honestly.
Yeah.
One of my biggest mantras for physical media, for most things, honestly, is that nostalgia sells.
Oh yeah.
Nostalgia is a big money maker, and I think that's what they're relying on. Like, I actually watched Neverending Story. Well, I'll say recently, but it's probably within the last 24 months. And I hadn't seen it probably since I was maybe a teenager, and it still holds up really well. Like for nostalgic purposes, it's still up there with Labyrinth and Dark Crystal and stuff for me. A great movie. I've seen it once in 30 years. I don't think I want to spend $250 to upgrade. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, it will sell out. They'll sell it. There's absolutely no drama in them selling that at all. Yeah. I can check out your video though when that uploads. I might
Yeah.
get you to plug your stuff at the end. Do you have any favorite labels or distributors of
Um,
films?
God, it always varies because it used to be that I loved Criterion and Arrow, but then it's just I don't know. It's grown to various. I think Second Sight's always been my
Mm,
most prized because just they have lesser releases, but they're always there's so much quality to that.
yeah.
Even just like even their latest Blair Witch one, like I was thinking,
Mm,
I've ordered imprints. I don't need Second Sights, and then they announced it, and I'm like. You know what? Here's a pre-order. There you go. Take my. That's the
yeah.
only brand I think I have that's a immediate shut up and take my money because it's like most other brands. I'm like, it depends on the film. I need a
Hmm.
review. But
Okay.
yeah, so and Vinegar Syndrome for their just the
Yeah.
crazy bloody movies that they release. The
Vinegar Vinegar Syndrome. My second show dropped yesterday, second episode of my show, where I basically do a rundown of what the major boutique labels are releasing, or what they have released. And my co-host on that is a big Vinegar Syndrome fan, and he gets a lot of this stuff. And he showed me some of this stuff, and it's stunning
oh yeah,
packaging that they do. It's immaculate. But yeah, you're right. They do some fucking bizarre releases, like
they
movies no one's heard of.
yeah the amount of glitter that they have to throw on so much turds, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Like some of the films are still amazing. Like their Roadhouse release, I was able to get the
Mm.
limited edition from Dead End DVD a
Oh,
couple
yep.
years back, and I was just like, it's outside of being a amazing package. It is such a gorgeous transfer. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
4Ks. So,
Yeah.
and I'd never even seen the film before, and I was just blown away. But I mean, it's Dean Cundy. It's gonna look amazing. So, yeah,
It's Aussie guy, yeah, he's Australian, right? Isn't he Australian, or am I
I don't
mixing him
know.
up with someone?
It sounds like an Australian name, but I feel like he's American. I'm gonna quickly look that up because we
Yeah,
don't have the third person to fact check.
yep.
I imagine he's American.
This is good radio, but yeah, I'm thinking. Oh,
Dean Cundy, American cinematographer.
okay. I'm mixing him
Yeah,
up with someone else. Obviously, I don't ask me who, but anyway,
yeah.
I do know his name from quite a few titles. But anyway,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
bunch of John Carpenter. Yeah.
That would be it because I'm a
Yes.
huge Carpenter fan. Like
Mm.
I recently discovered Carpenter in the last couple of years, and yeah, man, that guy's fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
What have we got next? I had a question for you before, but I can't remember what it was. So I'll move on. It'll come back to me. See, I wanted to ask about, I think you were talking about Vinegar Syndrome. What you were talking about was the other, Arrow. Is there
Yeah.
anything because I'm a big Arrow fan, like Arrow and Kino Lorber are my two faves if I have to pick any. Is there
Yeah.
anything on Arrow that I don't know, I'll say love, I guess. I don't know.
An arrow set that I prize. Oh, surprisingly, maybe the Dune set that they did, the David Lynch
Mm,
one. Like,
okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the film, but it's
Yeah.
one of their few sets where they've really gone out of their way with it. That and like the Hellraiser Quartet of was it
Oh,
Quartet
yeah.
of Terror, whatever they called it. Yeah, they've done some amazing releases, but it's one of those things where like with Scream Factory and Criterion, you look at people criticizing what they do now, and like, oh, the all the films are crappy compared to what other brands are doing. Like the guy who used to run Arrow does like Radiance now, and that's a brand where I
Hmm.
want to really get into Radiance, but
Yeah.
they're just like Vinegar Syndrome. They're just like films I've never heard of,
Yep.
and despite how good like the catalog is and how
Huh.
amazing like the restorations, the special features, whatever, it's just like I'll get there. I've got some pre-orders coming in October with Haxon and stuff, and I'm keen for that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'll jump into that as it grows. But yeah, no, I I think Dune's probably my favorite currently from there's I don't know that there's Tremors which is really good.
Yeah.
Mothra. Oh no, that's Eureka.
Yep. Yep.
That's a good set. I've got a couple favorites like that, like even the Godzilla set from Criterion. It's not the best
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
remasters, but it's a beautiful set.
That's
So
the big one with all
the
the
big
like the
book,
original.
yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a down the track purchase for me. Like it does look pretty cool. It does look
It
very cool, to be
It
honest.
is one of those sets that's its only curse is the fact that the transfers aren't the greatest because
Mm.
Toho wouldn't allow them to remaster a bunch of stuff, and
Oh,
also
really?
there are yeah the whole like I think it's the second disc that has like Destroyer Monsters and Astro Monster have a lot of really bad edits so that you get a lot of flashes on the bottom of the screen and stuff. I had to resort to my old DVD for it,
Oh, really?
which I think looked surprisingly better to some degree.
Huh,
But also the
interesting.
fact that if you keep it in a warm room, the discs will melt through the package. So,
Really?
yeah, so the people found out the hard way. So I luckily was able
Ah,
to buy an extra Blu-ray pack to just chuck them all in. So it's a nice
oh,
display piece
that's
on your mantle because it's such a big bloody book. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting though, about the melting. That's
There's a lot of digipacks that are like that. Like I've got a Godfather set that's similar, so I've had to put them in separate cases, but I'd also upgraded to the 4K by that stage, so it wasn't that
yeah,
much of an
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair, fair. What are the best transfers that you think you own? Like, what are your favorite 4Ks that you would look at and just go, this is mind blowing?
Definitely Roadhouse, as I said before, that and
Yep.
Suspiria are excellent. Carnival of Souls was one of the first
Oh
transfers
yeah.
that wowed me from Criterion. I think it's
Hmm.
just like a 4K remaster on a Blu-ray. It was just one of the first ones I'd ever seen, and it was stunning. And weirdly, Jaws, I know it's not a boutique release, but just the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
standard Universal release,
Yeah.
that and like The Thing. I love it. I don't know. I adore those films, and the amount of work that they put in for the Jaws one it's so
Hmm.
goddamn beautiful.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be boutique to be special. I think
Mm.
the some of the best transfers are the Indiana Jones transfers. They're immaculate.
Oh, yeah, I did want to talk. I did a little video earlier today talking about that, but like not the
Okay.
transfers, but something I noticed only because of the 4K, and it was just
Oh,
it's a creepy little detail that I absolutely adore that you can see for 2 seconds on the
which
4K.
which film? Which
It's
one?
Raiders with the what fertility idol. You can
Yeah. Oh
see its
yeah.
eyeballs. You can see the eyeballs moving
Oh really?
on the 4K, and it's one of those things where if you look at it
Ah.
like also looked at it on my phone where you can zoom in and you can just see its
Yep.
eyes moving just for like a couple of seconds.
Okay.
That was a design choice. They originally had it that it would follow him throughout the room, but you only see
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
one shot because they cut it out from the majority of the picture. So I think it's just a creepy detail. I love it. So
I'll have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, sometimes the digital effects for I guess for especially for older films can be a detriment when they upscale and upgrade them, when they remaster them. They cannot hold up sometimes. But
I
sometimes it's
think
good.
I think for a film like say The Mummy, I watched
Mm,
this is the Brendan Fraser ones, but I
mhm.
watched those recently and yeah, the effects are of the time period, but one of those things that I can be okay with is if the effects are consistent.
Yeah,
Like you watch the
yeah,
first Mummy film, all the effects are consistent. They all look the same quality of good for the time period, not as great now, but good enough, you know? It's like Jurassic Park. It's like I mean that actually benefits from amazing like lighting and stuff as well and a
yeah,
mixture
yeah.
of practical effects. But
Mm.
yeah, but then you like compare contrast that with Mummy Returns and just like yeah, that doesn't have the same kind of quality.
Have you seen Titanic on 4K yet?
I saw it in IMAX, so I haven't
Right.
actually. That is the 4K, but I haven't actually watched the disc yet because I was like, well, I just saw it in IMAX. I don't need to watch the disc
Yeah,
anytime soon.
that's
I should.
fair. It's a 3 hour watch. Well, there's a
Mm.
part in it because the 4K transfer is well, I can't say immaculate because there's one part in it that's really it's laughable, and I did have to rewind it and put it in slow mo and just kind of rolled around a bit because when
Is it the
Jack,
superimposed faces?
yeah, the superimposed
Yeah, the
faces
superimposed.
exactly.
Yeah, we noticed that on the IMAX in a big
Did
ass
you?
screen. Yeah, we
Yeah.
pointed out like, hey, look, it's the superimposed faces.
If you do the slow mo, oh my God,
It's
it's
so
just
goofy.
it is very very weird, but the rest of the film is insanely good.
Oh yeah, it's
Mm.
great. It's a great film. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
to go
it's an
from
all
a
timer.
DVD that I used to watch for years on end to jump to,
Mm.
I didn't even have a Blu-ray. I just jumped straight to 4K. So
Yep.
and watching an IMAX, which I'd never seen in the cinema, it was like, my God. So
Yeah.
yeah.
amazing in IMAX. Well, I
Mm.
don't have an IMAX here in Queensland. Nothing worth talking about anyway.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there only one in Australia? Isn't it just in Melbourne, or is there one in
There's
Sydney?
Sydney. There's one in Sydney as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Apparently, the Melbourne one is the biggest screen in the world. From what I
Yeah,
hear.
it's either the biggest or it's the second biggest, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely up there.
Yeah.
Mm.
You guys get it. I have friends up here who fly down to Melbourne to watch IMAX releases of new films. I had a mate went down there 4 times to watch Oppenheimer.
Jesus.
Like flew back and forth like to watch Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's
I mean,
nuts.
it was immaculate in IMAX, that's for sure. Like we my mate and I
Mm.
saw it in a regular cinema the week it came out, and we were like, we're booking tickets. Like immediately after the movie ended, we just booked tickets for IMAX. We had to wait a month, but it was worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I ended up having my partner come along because we had invited a different friend, but he got sick. So I invited my partner to come along, and she didn't know it was a talkie film. And I'm like, I've spent
Ah.
$45 on these tickets. You're coming. I don't give a
Yeah,
shit if you like it or not.
yeah,
She was
yeah.
like, it's good, but she just wasn't expecting it to be such a talkie film. And I'm like, yeah, but you're
Yeah.
experiencing it the way it's meant to be seen, you know? So,
It's a phenomenon, that film, how it was so successful being a talkie film the way it is.
mm.
Like it's political, it's about a nuclear, yeah, it's a ridiculous feat of marketing. Thank you, Barbie, I think, honestly. That
Yeah, I was
yeah.
surprised by how well that worked. Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I didn't do the
yeah.
Barbenheimer myself because I have a
No.
life, but at the same time, I respect those who
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I did. I waited for Barbie on physical, and then I was happy. Well, I definitely went and watched Oppenheimer, but I was happy to wait for Barbie. Wasn't
Yeah.
doing that. That was weird.
I mean, look, I watched that like three times in cinema. Yeah.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I watched it the opening weekend with my partner, and I
mm,
was just getting over a bad cold, and it was packed full of, families and
mm,
stuff. So it was actually surprisingly decent environment to watch it in. But then I watched it again a
yeah.
few weeks later with my mate because he wanted to see it a second time as well. And I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
sure, let's go see it. And then I watched it another time by accident because my mate was like, let's go watch a movie. And there was nothing interesting for him except for Barbie, and he hadn't seen it. So we went and saw Barbie again. So,
So did you like the film?
oh, yeah, I really liked it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I like Greta Gerwig's films. I like Noah
yeah,
Baumbach's film, so I was
yeah,
really happy with it. Yeah. I know
yeah.
people who didn't like it for, like, even my partner was like, she expected it to be like Barbie goes to Dreamland and has fun, adventure, generic
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
knew
yeah.
going into it, and I'm like, this is gonna be something a bit more
It's
thinking
thematic.
person,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely. The whole Will Ferrell of it all lets it down a little bit in retrospect, but it's still a great film. Like
mm,
it's a really important film of its time as well. Actually, it'll
yeah.
it'll hold up very well in years to come.
Yeah.
Are you a special features fan? Do you care about special features much?
I've gotten a lot more into them of recent, like since it feels almost ironic, but since Disney pulled out of Australia, I've been
Mm,
collecting like their Blu-rays, specifically the ones that were the Diamond Edition, because they had all the or majority of the imported, DVD features onto a Blu-ray disc. And I've put more realization into I actually really like this stuff, and then I emphasize that more on my channel that special features should be a must,
yeah.
like I loved the film Challenges that came out this year, and the
Yep.
Blu-ray had no special features, and I was
Mm,
so pissed off. I still hate
yeah, I know.
that
It's
release. I'm like,
weird.
I love the movie, but come on, even give me a 5-minute featurette about the tennis. I don't give a shit, just something.
Yeah.
But I started getting into audio commentaries as well because I've got
Oh,
friends who
yep.
are film historians and they've done
Okay.
commentaries and video essays and
Oh, for
stuff.
real.
So yeah, it's given me more interest. And also occasionally I do Blu-ray reviews, which gives me much more precedence to watch every single featurette on the disc. Maybe avoid the commentary, depends on if I actually know the person or not. If it's
Mhm.
just like a director one or another film historian that I don't know, then I'm just like, I'll let it slide for now and be like, it's probably good, question mark, and then move on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's good to
No,
know. I know,
yeah.
I know most people I've spoken to like to have the special features. Most
Mm.
people don't seem to want to spend the time watching them though.
It is
Um,
an extra chore, especially because like I'm in the mindset
yeah.
of I log a lot of films on Letterboxd and like, oh,
Oh yeah.
I can't log any of these special features on Letterboxd half the time, unless they're
Yeah.
like Scream Factory ones, surprisingly. But yeah, so
Letterbox off you, and
yeah.
then we'll do a swap. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. So with your home setup, I mean, obviously you're big on the quality of what you watch. Do you have
Mm.
what's your setup like at home, or you prefer to really experience the quality in cinema?
Look, I love watching films in cinema. Even my partner questions why I keep rewatching films in cinema, and I'm like, like as in like old films I have on Blu-ray, and I'm like,
Oh
because I
yeah,
just like the
yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
But I also
Yep.
have, I've got a LG, I think it's a Gallery 2 edition, so
Oh
like it
yeah.
didn't come with a feet, it just plugs straight into the wall.
Uh-huh.
It's OLED, it's like 65 inches. I'd upgraded that from
Yeah.
an old 4K TV, which was 55, and this one has OLED, so it's just got the extra level, Dolby
Yeah.
Vision, filmmaker mode. I've got a 5.1 setup because we
Hmm.
don't have speakers in the roof. Because I mean,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to do that to myself because this isn't my house. But eventually, one day, sure, I'll have that Dolby Atmos
Yeah.
set up. But I've got headphones as well for that. So I've got
Okay.
wireless headphones that have Dolby Atmos. So just
Oh,
in case I
nice.
want that extra little kick.
Yep.
And yeah, I've got two 4K players, a Panasonic, the UB, what's it, 480 or whatever it's called, the one that everyone wants. And I'm like, I bought it like a couple years ago
Is that the
on
820?
sale.
You mean?
Yeah, that's the
David?
one. Yeah, I'm so bad
Yeah.
with names, but it's like the one that's just not $1,000. It's
Yes.
still like roughly like retails for like 600 odd or some shit. I'm like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I got it
Yeah.
for 300, but okay.
Very
I've got
nice.
another Sony 4K player that I got
Yep.
with all region stuff. We've got a place in Melbourne called like Gaddy Audio, which will,
Uh,
install that stuff. So I've got that 4K. Its only problem is the fact that the Dolby Vision doesn't work for it, but I'm able to use it for
oh,
like any Region A stuff. I can put it on any 4K stuff that has standard HDR10 grading works fine. So
okay.
yeah, and I've got a Denon receiver as well. So I've got a couple of things.
That's a good setup. Yeah.
It's
That's,
it
yeah.
survived me a couple of years now, which is good. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with it.
Yeah. You can't complain
Yeah.
about that at home. Yeah. That's good
Yeah.
value.
Well, it's better than my
Um,
parents. They've got a soundbar and it sounds awful. It's so bad.
oh,
I
really?
regret it. It was my suggestion because it was a big like lounge room thing. Mine's a theater room, and it was just
Right.
like, yeah, that was a bad idea. We should never have done a soundbar. Unless you have an apartment, there's no reason to get a goddamn soundbar, I think. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have a sound bar and I have a pretty relatively small space. Like it's an 8 MOS sound bar, and it's
hmm.
pretty damn impressive for the price point and what I.
I'd have to imagine in a smaller area because, like, in the lounge room, it's just a big open area, so you don't have
Yeah,
walls to have the
yeah,
sound
yeah,
reflect off of. So it just
yeah,
goes out and it just sounds really weird. So
yeah.
it's not the best. It's yeah, should have
Hmm.
just gone with a standard two speakers on the side like we used to have, but that system got like degraded because we'd had this in 2010. So yay,
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
yeah.
How do you organize your collection? Do you have? I mean, you said you pack a lot of them away because of the living situation, but do you
Well,
catalog or do you?
given I currently have 2,429 individual releases, I have several shelves. We have a big one on the wall that is usually my backdrop in my videos, and that
Mhm.
has they usually fit 26 Blu-rays per slot. It's not designed for Blu-rays. If my dad had consulted me, I would have been like, get this one from Amazon and
Mhm.
it'll have all the adjustable little features. It would have been perfect, but
Yep. Yep.
instead, I have one that's 2 times the depth, so if I need to bury
Ah,
stuff, I can
yeah.
do that.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, my first, I think it's 10 columns, like 10 squares in 2 columns, director's slots where I have individual
Oh, yeah.
directors that I really like.
Okay.
And that can vary from like the Coen brothers and Jackie
Mm.
Chan to Alfred
Mm.
Hitchcock to both Wes
Yeah,
Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson. I've got a whole shelf dedicated to Scorsese and David Lynch. But
that's
then I've
cool.
got like box sets at the top. I've got several other shelves around that have either figurines or steelbook selections or box set selections or boutique labels. I've got all my Disney animated in just two whole shelves, all the
Yeah.
watchable steelbooks in two whole shelves, all the special steelbooks that I don't want people to touch are way up in the air, all the box sets. So yeah, but the rest of them are in a big clustered area that go from A to Z from Blu-rays
Yep.
and then A to Z in DVDs, which we have about 800 odd DVDs. Most of them are dad's, but most
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Blu-rays are mine. So
That's cool.
yeah.
That's a really interesting way to stack them, though. I mean, when I had less, I did start putting mine in by director, but then I thought this doesn't really work with the
Mm,
shelves that I had. So I just went alphabetical. Yeah, but that's cool. I like that idea of
yeah.
grouping them by director.
I have, yeah, I've got those. I think it's 8 or 10 that are directors. The rest are just in regular
Yeah.
alphabetical. The only
Yeah.
difference is the occasional odd collection, which I think I've got like I used to have the Marvel, the MCU in there, but then I gave that its
Hmm.
own slot because I'm like, we don't really watch them anymore. I'll keep them up in the top, whatever. And now it's just like I've got the DC selection because I just have a smaller
Oh
one.
yeah.
I have that underneath DC. I've got Batman underneath Batman. I've got these Night of the Living Dead films, the ones that aren't done
Oh
by
yeah.
Romero, as their own dead selection,
Yeah, sweet.
which includes spin-offs and all kinds of stuff. But then I've got all these TV shows and 2 other shelves just because I've got so many TV shows, and most of those are like season one is prominent, behind it is all the rest of the seasons. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I have to
a
ask you
lot.
about Hitchcock. I'm a huge Hitchcock fan. What's your go-to with him?
Rear Window is my favorite.
Love it.
That's
Yeah.
that's one I'd always go to. I like North by Northwest as well. I feel like most of them are just like the ones you immediately think of are the ones that I'd probably go for. But then
Yeah.
I like Psycho, but I don't love the second half of it. It's like once Marion gets killed off, I'm like, look, I love Anthony Perkins' performance, but
Yeah.
if I want
Yeah.
to get a good Anthony Perkins, I go for Psycho 2. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
or even Psycho 4. I really like those films.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm trying to remember any other. I like Lifeboat. Lifeboat was really
Lifeboat
good.
is good. Yeah.
I
That is
watched
really
that on a
impressive.
train. I watched that on a bus, which is weird. It's a movie about being on a boat, and I'm on a
On a boat,
bus
yeah.
watching it because that was on the Criterion channel at the time. I'm like, I've got
Ah,
time. I'll just watch that. Sure, why not? Easy peasy.
yeah.
So that was in between watching West Side Story. So I watched the first half, watched West Side Story, watched the second half on the way home. So yeah, but no,
Mm,
Rear Window's always been my go-to. I've always loved it. Anything Jimmy
mm,
Stewart, like I adore.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. There's still a bunch of his I'm yet to watch, but I've got the big box set, so I've got plenty of time to watch them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man, Hitchcock's the best. If you haven't seen, I mean, North by Northwest and Rear Window are my two favorites of his. It's and then Notorious is very close up there as well. But I'd
I
recommend it. Not many people have ever seen the 39 Steps.
I haven't seen it, but the problem is
Oh,
like I grew up with we had in a high school a play for the 39 Steps. So
oh,
I've
really?
seen a play adaptation by high
Yeah,
schoolers. So
it's going to be
it's
different to a Hitchcock
oh,
film.
no doubt. Yeah. So I need
I
to
love the
definitely
film.
I don't think I have that one actually, because I don't think that was in the box that I have. Because I've got an old
Mm.
Universal set. They've
Is that
released
the House of Hitchcock? Is that the one you have?
no,
Okay.
unfortunately I don't. I've got a different one that has like pieces of his face on the front.
Okay.
It's designed like a big book, which is quite nice. It's weird because you got to slide them out, which is
Hmm.
concerning if they scratch or whatever, but it's usually pretty
Yeah.
good. But they had done a newer one since then, which I think added like 3 or 4 more films, but it was just like one of those really
Mm.
clustered box sets, and it was just like when I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. It looks awful. There's still plenty I need to get around to, like 39 Steps, and even Notorious I haven't seen. So yeah.
Chorus is magical. It's got a really great Criterion release of that, actually.
Yeah, I need to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have anything that you regret buying? Anything that you go, I shouldn't have brought that? Either for price or for the quality of the film. Like if you buy them.
I bought a film once called Death Warmed Up, which is a New
Mm.
Zealand low budget horror film, and it's like a Umbrella release. The artwork was just like this, them taking the brain out of a guy's head. I'm like, this looks great, and it was like the most boring thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
But the
right.
thing is, sometimes with a film like that, it's like if you don't know what you're getting into, oh, there's one. Zombie Flesh Eaters, the Lucio Fulci film. I
Okay.
hated it the first time I watched it. Like me and my partner were like, yeah, let's apparently it's the goriest zombie film, let's go watch it. And we are bored out of our minds. But it's like
Mm.
I've since rewatched that. I ended up getting the 4K version, and it was I really loved it. I'm like, so I mean, I might love Death Warmed Up if I watched it again because it's also one of those you need the context of understanding what the film is trying to be before you can watch it. Sometimes you
Films are
learn that
funny
the
like
hard
that.
way by watching the film and being like, it wasn't great, but then you watch it again or you have someone talk about it, read about it online, and you're like, I'll give it another shot with this different mindset.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Films are funny like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think maybe Wild Things, the Arrow version
Oh,
was maybe I bought the Steelbook like
right.
deluxe set, and I don't know why the hell I did that in the end. I'm like, it's a fine film, but it's like
Yeah.
I could have just been okay with a standard 4K. I didn't need this whole deluxe packaging and everything. It's like I don't know if I'm even gonna watch it again. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's interesting.
fine.
You'd probably get
Yeah.
a good price for it if you wanted to sell it, to be honest. Because
Probably
there's,
it is the Steelbook as well, so it's got that extra
yeah,
kick to it. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
it's a bit of a cult film. I got a 4K of that too, but I don't think, well, definitely not the Steelbook, but
hmm.
it's not the standard either. So I don't know what it is. I've not actually opened it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah. I
yeah,
definitely if I could, I would definitely I mean I can. I would definitely probably resell that and then
yeah,
just buy a standard 4K version of it.
mm,
Because it is a good looking film. Like it's a great restoration, but it's like
yeah.
I definitely did not need to spend like $80 on this fucking film.
That's
So,
fun. Yeah, I'm glad you've got regrets because everyone I've spoken to so far said, no, I don't regret anything I brought because they're like my babies, But yeah,
oh
it's
no,
good.
I
I've got
think
regrets too, but
yeah, I think it's one of those you learn from it, and it's either twofold.
Mm,
Like with like Wild Things, I did not need to spend that much money on that film. Why did they do that? But also, that could just be any blind buy. You don't know. You're spending out of
yeah,
FOMO. It looks great. It'll. I
yeah.
hope it'll be great. And you're watching like, man, that. I mean, it was fine, I guess. Like, it
You
was
kind of convince yourself that you liked it because you spent
yeah,
money
you
on it.
want it to be worth the money, And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, that was just kind of, it was fine, all right, I guess, whatever. It's just like, I appreciate elements to it, and it's still a great set and everything, but I'm also like, I could have just saved the money. But
yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
I
but then again,
totally get
there's
it.
obviously the films where you watch it, you think this is fucking awful, worse. Am I allowed to swear, by the
Oh
way?
yeah, man, absolutely.
Cool.
We're Australian. We swear.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, and so it becomes you watch it and you're like, man, this kind of sucks, but then you rewatch it after a year or two and you kind of realize, hey, I've got it on physical, I can rewatch it to reappreciate it, but also maybe you just need the right people to watch it with, like watching a comedy that you don't
Yeah.
find funny, but then you watch it
Uh-huh.
with someone and they're like, this is the funniest thing, and you're like, yeah, I actually get
Yep.
it now.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah.
yeah. That's
Like
such
I
a strange phenomenon, isn't it?
yeah, like I didn't love Little Miss Sunshine the first time I watched
Mm,
that, but then I rewatched it with my partner and we were just cacking ourselves. I was like, I get it
yeah.
now, it's
Yeah.
clicked. Yeah, it's great. So
It's great how films are a communal thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's awesome. Okay, so is there anything that you're looking forward to being released? Anything you've got pre-ordered even, like something you're
Oh,
keen on that's coming out? Because there's a lot coming out.
pre-orders. Oh god. Well, we were talking about North
Yeah.
by Northwest. They've got the
Yes.
standard version coming to JB, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, same.
I know they've got
Thief
one.
is also coming.
Yeah, they've got that one, but I'm concerned about that because I bought the standard Blu-ray for $10. I think it was earlier this year because I'd looked
Hmm.
up the reviews for the 4K and they were not positive. They
Ah.
were saying they'd changed like the color grading
Oh,
and it
okay.
looked like I think it was meant to look blue. They made it look green, and I'm like, oh, okay. And they were
Ah.
like, stick with the old Blu-ray. It looks fine. You get special
Oh,
features. I'm like, I'll probably stick with the old Blu-ray, but I
that's
don't know
interesting.
if they fixed that or if they did a different version. What do I have?
I only
Delivered.
watched it. I literally watched Catch a Thief 2 nights ago.
Okay,
Because
I've never seen it, so I
okay.
again take my time to watch so many of these
Oh, mate, me
films.
too. I've got probably 400 or 500 in my collection. I've never seen, maybe not that much,
Oh,
but
dude,
close to.
I've got the My Movies, the Blu-ray. I've got
Oh, yeah.
711 releases I still have not watched.
Yeah.
And some
Wow.
of them are box sets, like the Alfred Hitchcock
Yep.
one. There are several films in that I haven't seen. I've got film sets that have 10 or 12 films that I have not seen. So it's like, and that
Yeah.
counts as one barcode. It's like 800 films I haven't watched. Some of them, so I don't, it's not always like 700 movies, but it's still a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, what am I looking forward to? The Hitcher from Second
Oh,
Sight.
yeah.
Very excited for that.
Yeah. I've got a mate very keen for that.
I've got it written down as Imprint October Bundle.
Oh,
I
okay. Is that
think.
Caligula and whatnot?
No, Imprint. This is
Sorry.
Blair Witch and
Oh,
Suspiria and stuff. I bought the bundle because it made every film $40, and I was happy with
yeah.
that because Suspiria was 110. I'm like, woof. But then but
Yeah.
$40 for a film I really like, I'm excited for that.
They're very cool with them with their pricing via Vision or
Yeah,
imprint. Yeah, they're
it's
very clever.
it's not fun. It's all right. Like I get it. I understand the point of view from the guy who runs it. So Josh. So
Mm,
that's why it's interesting to meet the people who actually run like these
Absolutely.
labels to get an idea of how like their mindset works for it, so I can be like, okay,
Yeah,
I can see both
that's fair.
sides. I
Yeah.
can see the distributor, I can understand how rights work, price work, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I can still be like, man, that's really expensive. I kind of hate that, but hey, that's just how it is.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I've got a guy I know who, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like every release is its own story of
Mm,
why they cost what they do or why they don't get released here until months later. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a very interesting story behind each one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's why I'd known about Neverending Story for so many months prior
Mm.
to its release because
Hmm.
Josh was telling me how much effort they put into not just getting the whole limited edition contents, but both copies, the German
Yeah.
uncut, like the
Yeah.
remark whatever extended cut, but
Hmm.
also the original American one, which had the original soundtrack. Like they really
Yeah.
wanted that, and to get them both in 4K, and it was just like it's so much effort that I wish I could contribute. If
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
it wasn't $250.
250. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got Radiance. I've got the set for Haxon and Dog. Planet of the Vampires and Japanese Ghost Stories coming. That's in
Oh,
November. Planet of the
okay.
Vampires, I'm interested to rewatch because it's like apparently a really good 4K restoration. And I
Hmm.
already have like the Kino version, which looks great, but I'm like,
Okay.
I'm happy to reappreciate that film when I get that because that's also another one where I was like, it's a fine film, but and it looks great, but it's kind of a little bit boring. But eventually, you get used to the style and you understand what it's going for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I've pre-ordered the Caligula set actually.
Have you? Yeah, yeah.
I got it
Yeah, me
because they
too.
had a 15% off sale for everything,
Mm,
including
they
pre-order.
did.
So I was like, I'm gonna get it now. Gonna get that Ultimate Collection set.
Ah,
I'm going
nice.
all out. Why not? I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
good
seen
option.
one film by the director, and that was basically just one of his classic, hey, it's Italian porn. Hope you like it. It's in 4K.
Yeah. It's
Um,
pretty explicit from what I got it because I've heard a lot about it. But from what I understand, it's pretty full on. Like it's
it
very graphic.
depends which version you watch, because that's the
Yeah.
benefit with Umbrella is
Hmm.
that they're giving you a completely new cut of the film,
Well,
the
yeah.
original vision, the 100% porn vision, and then the one that's like a mix of both. Because yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
I have to
crazy how they were because they're like,
wait till the
oh,
kids
but
are out of the house.
yeah, exactly. Like he's the guy who does all that porn stuff, and he's like, I want to make a serious drama. No porn. Oh, damn it, I gotta do both. So, I mean, he films some interesting stuff, so I'm interested to see a film that's actually a drama, I
Mm,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K steelbook set
Oh,
coming
nice.
because I ordered that from Outrun, so that's coming
Yep,
coming
yep.
in at the end of this month. So I'm excited for that. At least that'll come in for October. I've ordered Godzilla minus one on 4K, the
Oh,
US one again through Outrun, so
I
that I'm
think we're
excited
getting one
for.
here by the end of the year.
Well, this one's from it was like $70 which is probably still way too much
That's
for
not
me.
bad, honestly. From what I've seen, it's not bad.
For me, it was just I just kind of want to have it. I know it's going to be one of those, man, I kind of regret having bought, like, I love the film. So I'm like, and I haven't
Yeah.
streamed it. I haven't watched the minus one, the
Hmm.
color, minus color version, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I wish the 4K I was ordering came with that. It's kind of seems like it might, but I very much doubt it will. But still, I'm excited for that. And Exorcist 2, weirdly, I'm excited for.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it, but also
No,
Lee Gambon had done a commentary on it prior to his passing, and I really want to see it because he loved the film. So I'm very interested to listen to that.
okay.
Yeah, those are the ones I've got other stuff I'm expecting, but those are the ones I'm very excited
The big
for.
ones. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I
Did
know.
you just read your Blair Witch? Did you see the guy who directed Blair Witch? I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he come out and actually was against the Vivision
Yeah,
release.
that's how I found out the Second Sight was doing a release because he was
Mm,
basically like, we've been working with Second Sight to get a version that looks like it's meant to, and it's got two versions on their disc. It's got one that's
mm,
like is what I can't remember how they phrased it, but it's got two different looking versions. One that's like remastered in this way, one that looks like that. I don't know, but it's I understand the mindset of, being angry at like say Vivision, whatever, for not releasing their true vision, but it's like,
yeah.
yeah, but Vivision was getting the print from
Yes.
Lionsgate who own it. So it's
Yeah.
like I wouldn't pin it on Vivision just because they're the ones who
No.
do it the most recent. But I'm still getting the set because again, the October bundle, but also it comes with this Book of Secrets, which I haven't seen yet. So and some special features and some nice artwork. So, they've
Yeah.
always got some quality to their special features, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but
I won't pick
yeah,
it up because I actually remember watching that in the cinema, and I get motion sick pretty easy,
okay,
and I could not handle. I actually had to walk out because I thought I was going to throw up everywhere. I get motion sick playing, but I can't play PlayStation games like Call of Duty and stuff because I get motion sick from just playing stuff like that. So
okay.
yeah, I'm
I get
soft,
it
I
from
guess.
racing games.
Oh, really? So I love racing games. Like I'll play racing games all
Arcade
day.
racing games, I have to like hold on to my stomach just so I just like can drive it. Oh God. But
Uh,
yeah, no, I get the feeling a lot of people don't like shaky cam stuff, so
oh yeah.
yeah, I think it adds an interesting level to it. Like, there's a film which you probably wouldn't be able to watch, which is Wreck, the Spanish horror film.
Oh, I've never
It's
seen
a
that.
it's a yeah, it's first person. It's set up as well. It's not really. It is a cameraman who's filming it, but like we know that
Hmm.
because it's a part of a camera crew who are just, oh hey, we're just looking at the middle of the night life of these firefighters. Let's go on this mission to this building. There might be a fire, and then it so happens that it's
Right.
zombies. Uh,
Okay.
it's really intense, but does have that not a lot of shaky cam, but it is very
Is it
handheld.
is
So
it like a Cloverfield type? I can handle Cloverfield.
yeah, no, it's similar to Cloverfield. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not as crazy as Cloverfield. Cloverfield does it deliberately, where they're like trying to
Yeah,
shy
yeah.
away from a lot of effects, whereas this one isn't. But
Right.
yeah, no, I think this one it's still just one camera, but yeah, it's yeah probably more like Cloverfield. That's another
Okay.
Arrow release that was really good. So
All
yeah.
right. I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean, I
chat
think
up.
Scream Factory did a release that have like all four films, but yeah,
Okay.
it depends if you want the sequels. I'd have them on DVD, so I don't really care to buy them again. I'm like,
Yeah.
the DVD's fine. Yeah.
That's well, that actually kind of leads me to my next question. I
Mm.
did remember the question I was going to ask you before is where do you get your criterions from?
Nowadays, it's just mostly Amazon.
Okay.
I do for Kino, Scream Factory,
Yeah.
and Criterion. Occasionally, I'll go to either Outrun or Dead and DVD. I used to go
Yeah.
Cinemaniacs, but they've closed up their home media store. But
Okay.
yeah, I mostly utilize, yeah, Amazon's usually just a lot cheaper,
Yeah, it
for
is.
Kano and all that. And it's just a lot
Yeah.
easier to get them. I know that half the time they come in damaged or some shit, so I gotta just hope for the best, especially if it's a digipack. Holy shit. If it's made of cardboard, it's gonna be just dented up
Mm.
the wazoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, because I vary in different stores for different reasons. Again, like I got Dead End DVDs, good for like getting Vinegar Syndrome, and then this is one that's local in Mornington. So I actually
Oh,
know
yeah, you
Joel.
can just go pick them up from him, can you?
Yeah, basically, he's like half an hour away.
Yeah,
It's great.
that's
Like I know Joel.
yeah.
We've hung out a couple of times. He's a great guy. So he's got some good releases. Outrun followed me on Instagram a couple months ago, and I'd never heard
Oh,
of
yeah.
them. And they were just had like started up, and I was like, okay. And so now I buy very frequently from them. They get
Oh,
some
okay.
really good deluxe sets and stuff from the UK and the US. So
Yeah, it doesn't follow me. I don't know how you get promoted
I don't
to.
know. It's just, I guess, because I was just posting stuff physical media wise, and they just started following me. I'm
Yeah.
like, sure, I'll take it. And then I just, yeah, started following them back and started buying from them. So occasionally they'll post up what they've got in recently of their hauls, and I'll be like, cool, I'll just
Yep.
double check their website, see if there's anything I want to buy. They're also based in Melbourne, but they're in like, I don't know, Traralgon or some crap that's like so many kilometers
Yeah,
away that
out
it's
bush.
like, yeah, I'll wait for the 2 3 day delivery. I don't care.
Yeah.
$10, you know.
Yeah, it's not much else. Yeah, I've got a few in my cart there that I want to get because Austin Powers, this is
Oh
going to lead
yeah.
into my next transfer. But yeah, I've been waiting for an Austin Powers forever on 4K. So I
Yeah,
don't know we'll
I've
get that
strayed
in
from
Australia.
I've
But
strayed from the Blu-ray because I've been waiting for a 4K because I've got the DVD set and I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
same.
I've been happy with the DVD for all my life, but I'm like these production design wise and costuming is like I'd love to get this on 4K. It would look
Yeah, a
amazing.
very colourful film too. So it'll
Yes, no,
look very
definitely.
good. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah. So yeah, my next question is, what do you want to see get a 4K transfer?
You know, I never know, but at the same time,
There's so
I
much.
gotta be on the crowd with Barbarian, like Barbarian and stuff.
Oh
Like that's just
yeah,
physical media in general.
Disney
Um,
Disney are fucking idiots. Honestly, they
like
are so fucking stupid.
I still haven't bought the first Omen on physical because I'm waiting for a 4K. And like
Hmm.
I learned my lesson after getting Evil Dead 2 when Studio Canal released that
Oh yeah,
they had their restoration, whatever, and it was like, here's a 4K restoration on Blu-ray. I'm like, great, I'll buy that. 6 months later, here's the 4K UHD. And I'm like, you say what now?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and I'm like,
Yep.
why did that happen? So now I'll wait and hope. Like challenges, I'd still love for a 4K. Like I'm happy with
Oh,
how the Blu-ray looks, but just give me
yep.
some special features. But
It's a
yeah.
weird it's a catch-22 when it comes to Blu-ray and 4K because I think studios will release the Blu-ray to see if they sell, and if they don't
Mm.
sell, we don't get the 4K. But
Yeah.
then again, collectors, if they wait for the 4K, don't buy the Blu-ray, they'll never get the 4K because the Blu-ray hasn't sold because they haven't bought it. That's a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's
No, it's definitely how I've seen that a lot. It's either that or someone finally caves, buys the Blu-ray, and then a couple days later, hey, here's a new 4K that's being
yeah.
pre-ordered. Like, yeah, like I feel like I was in I had a year of disparity. So I bought Twisted on
Oh yeah.
Blu-ray and I had the DVD all my life. Bought the Blu-ray, only watched it recently
Okay.
before the new one, and then they're like, "Here's a new 4K UHD." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Are you kidding me? I could have just
I did the
waited."
same.
I mean,
Exactly the
it was
same.
only $10. I'm not stressed, and I can give it to my,
No, 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 but
parents. They can have it, So,
there's still a principle behind it, isn't there? Like it's like, fuck, I
yeah,
just brought this on blue and now you announce it. Like it's yeah, very frustrating. So
yeah.
nothing really in particular you want to get a 4K transfer.
I don't know. I never really. I try not to dwell on it because then I don't want to be the person who's clamoring and begging and yelling. Why isn't this like the amount of times? I think it's because I see it retroactively on Facebook with like Arrow releases, and they've got this, and it's like, oh, a Blu-ray of this. Maybe it's from a 4K transfer, whatever, or a 2K scan, and people are like, "Where's the 4K? Where's the?" I'm just like, I'm not yelling at a goddamn cloud, so I'm not going to be the person who's yelling at a goddamn cloud. Like if
Yeah.
something gets announced and then it gets good reviews, I'll be like, great. If it's even if it doesn't get good reviews or there's no reviews yet and I just want to buy it, I'll buy it. So I'm just like I just wait to because I already had that as a problem anyway. I buy stuff
Mm.
and then the next day, hey, this is now coming out. I'm like, for Christ's sake, I just spent $300 on these other films. Give me a
Yeah.
break.
Yes, I know. I've had that issue this fortnight. I'm like, I'm going to go a fortnight. I'm not going to buy anything. I made a purchase on. I think I ordered some stuff on Amazon on my actual payday. I'm not going to buy anything for a fortnight, and I think I've purchased another like 25 movies at least, and it's been a week anyway because JB have done their horror sale. Anyway,
Yeah, I think I benefit from I have most of their horror films anyway, so I don't usually need to
yeah.
buy any of them anymore. I'm like, I bought most of this stuff in like 5 years ago, so I'm usually fine. So
I'm an actually pretty relative newcomer to horror, so there's a lot I
yeah.
don't have and don't look. I was never a massive horror fan until my daughter was watching horror and she got me into it. We watched some together, and now I don't think she watches anything, to be honest. She watches shitty old TV shows now,
Well,
and
them are
so
good.
well, she watches the OC. Oh, mate, horror films, man.
I've heard the OC is good. I don't know.
Yeah, she watches
Look,
that and the Gilmore
I
Girls
spent
and
8 months watching The Shield because my mate was like, "You gotta watch The Shield," and I bought the
yeah.
Blu-ray, and it took me 8 months to finish it. I'm like, "You were right, it's amazing."
Yeah, I've heard it's good. My
You
dad used
know?
to watch The Shield. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's just how it
yeah.
is. Yeah, but yeah, horror. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm a
Look,
big horror fan now.
I used to hate horror growing up. I
Yeah,
watched the Alien films as a kid. It traumatized
yeah,
me for years, and
yeah.
I was scared of anything horror wise. We even watched Poltergeist, and it scared the crap
Hmm.
out of me. And I'm just like, I can't watch this stuff. It's too scary. And yet we
Yeah,
actively still watch Paranormal Activity and Shaun of the Dead. I know it's still a comedy, but you still
yep,
have
yep,
a guy
yep.
getting ripped to shreds.
Yeah,
American Werewolf in London. So many classics.
yeah.
That was like, we gotta watch these, and I'm just like, this is just terrifying. Who would want to watch this? I
Yeah,
don't know what happened. Just at some stage in my
it's
late
strange, right?
teens, it just clicked, and suddenly I don't know. I just
Stops being
found
scary.
yeah. I don't get scared by slasher films. Like I
No,
don't think I ever
no.
did, and now I just laugh at them. I'm like, this is hilarious. I love
Yeah,
this. Kill him,
yeah,
kill him.
yeah, yeah,
Any
exactly.
Friday the 13th film, go Jason, kill them. I love it. And I mean, I love monster movies, any practical effect stuff.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
I mean, I don't mind CGI as well, but like, I love just the surrealist stuff. Again, as my appreciation from Alien became, I'm
Hmm.
terrified of it, and now I love the practical effects. I love the
Yeah.
idea, the concepts, the execution. I love that kind of
Have,
stuff.
have you seen? It just reminds me, look, because I love my practical effects too. Have you
Hmm.
seen In a Violent Nature, the latest?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched that at was it last month? Yeah, I watched it, I double featured it with Trap of all movies.
Oh
Um,
wow.
because
Yeah.
I love Shyamalan as well. Me and my mate
Yeah.
are just
Same.
big in
Same.
like, and he was a guy who got me into a bunch of random horror films and stuff from our first year of uni. I got in a job, whatever, and he's like, "We're buying this, buy this, buy this, buy this." I bought like 100 films per his suggestion, probably 200. But yeah, no, I loved In a Violent Nature. I was just like I was laughing my head off. The gore was so intense.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I got really nauseous during the yoga one. I was just like, this is great. And then it just kept going and I was just like starting to be like,
Yes.
okay,
Is that the one
it.
and the girl on the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
it really got to me. I'm like, this is amazing, but also I want to throw up now. Yeah, and I
incredible.
hadn't even had dinner yet. But no, I found the final act of that film to be really scary. I
Mm,
bizarre because it's the opposite. You think it's like with any Friday the 13th film, which I
yeah,
love. It's not scary because you're just waiting for Jason to pop up and chop them in the head. It's gonna be obvious. And
yeah.
this film just kept lingering and lingering. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
I loved
The
it.
whole film is like that. And I, like, at first, it was just such a mesmerizing film, like, because it's just this, all you hear is footsteps on the forest floor.
Yeah, and
Pretty
this guy
much,
walking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Walking
like,
simulator. Yeah.
it's like you're a character in Grand Theft Auto or something, and you're just walking
Yeah.
along and then you just slaughter some people. But it's such a mesmerizing film.
Yeah.
Just reminded me of practical effects. There was something I watched recently. I put on my letterboxd. Was it Day of the Dead? Tom Savini did the practical effects for that.
Oh yeah, he did a bunch of effects for all those
Yeah,
Romero
yeah,
zombie films.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and that was, I
Oh, Day
love
of the
that just
Dead.
purely for that.
Yeah, Day of the Dead has maybe some of the best zombie effects next to again like any Lucio Fulci zombie
Hmm.
film or just any Lucio Fulci film. Like he's my favorite Italian director and he's done so
Okay.
many amazing effects works from zombies to slasher films. Absolutely just stunning work. It's it's got that level of like it still has a campy look to it because of the how dated it is, but at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
I really like
That's the charm.
I love the dated stuff more than I like realistic
Yeah,
looking horror because I'm like,
absolutely.
I get it, that was scary then, but now it's like got a class to it. I really appreciate that to it.
Yep.
But yeah, yeah, but no,
No, I'm the same. I'm not a massive fan of modern horror for the most part, but older stuff is
I can
just, I
be
love
hit
it.
or miss with modern, but
Yeah.
I still try my best to watch it what I can. But it's like the only things that really scare me are ghost films. For
Okay.
some reason, like ghost films scare the shit out of me, and I don't know why. Like the Paranormal Activity, Ghost
Yeah.
Watch, arguably Lake Mungo, one of the
Oh,
films
guy's
I've
amazing.
experienced. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know why these films scare me so much. It's the stupidest idea. Ghosts, invisible
Yeah.
things, but I don't know,
Yeah.
that scares the shit out of
I
me.
mean, I get it. I absolutely get it. It gives it. I would say that gives me more chills than watching a slasher because
Oh yeah.
you, it's not that it feels more realistic, but watching a slasher does just not feel realistic. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there are
It's
so many tropes with the slasher film, and
yeah,
even a ghost
yeah,
films too can, but it's like, what are you gonna do? The Ghostbusters aren't real.
exactly.
Who are you going to call?
Ghosts can't hurt you. And the thing is, we should be more afraid of real people than ghosts because real
Hmm.
people can slash you up. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
it is a strange thing.
Yeah.
So are you into the Mike Flanagan stuff then? Like
Yeah,
haunting?
yeah, I like Haunted Hill House. There's so much of his stuff I haven't seen.
Mhm.
Like basically anything after Blind Manor, I don't think I've seen for some reason. I've just been so busy with so many other things. Like he did that.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to keep up.
What was he did one that was
Midnight Mass and House of Usher.
those two. I have yet to see those.
Both fucking amazing,
I
man.
hear they're excellent. I'm like
Oh, dude.
I need to, but there's also some. I mean, like the what was not the shit. What was the second one you mentioned?
House of Usher.
That one, because that's
Yeah.
not just the House of Usher. It's like all those like old stories that were like Corman films adapted or whatever. The
Well,
Edgar Allan Poe
yeah.
and stuff like that kind of stuff. Like I don't know a lot of that very well, so I imagine I
Mm.
don't know how well I'd receive it in terms of as an adaptation form because I
No,
never read any of that as a
you
kid or
don't need to.
whatever.
They're not actually adaptations, really. Like the Fall of the House of Usher is about a family who were a very wealthy family called Usher. But the title of each episode is basically based on an Edgar Allan Poe story. But
Yeah,
it's not actually based, it's not
not like
written as the
strongly like
story.
yeah.
No,
Okay,
it's a family drama set to horrific shit.
okay, that
Like it's slasher plus haunting plus Mike Flanagan chills and
yeah.
spills. Like it's really good.
Yeah.
And Midnight Mass is just such a fun watch. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
I
it's
think
really, really
for
good.
me, most of the times because they're on streaming, I hardly ever
Yeah,
remember to watch them. But like
yeah,
like unlike something like Doctor Sleep, which I've watched two or
mm,
three times now, and I
yeah.
adore that film. So
Doctor Sleep's amazing. Rebecca
yeah.
Ferguson is insanely great.
Oh yeah, she's so creepy. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Like I'm
great to
even
see a
wearing a Shining
female.
shirt right now.
Oh,
It's
nice,
just
yeah.
Jack Nicholson's face.
That's on my spooky season watch list again.
Oh
The
yeah.
Shining's great. Yeah. So, how do you strategize your purchasing? Like when you buy, do you are you big on your pre-ordering, or do you buy and release, or you really wait? You happy to wait for sales, or is it just title dependent?
It's it's basically a mix of all of them. Like, I'm happy, like, say, like imprint stuff. Most of the time, I'm happy to wait for them to come out and then for a JB to have a sale. But sometimes it's like if Outrun gets something or like Dead End or whatever, like importers get something that I know will sell out overseas. I want to get it quickly. Sometimes I want to just wait to see what the transfer looks like. Like, for
Okay.
example, I was like, I'll wait for a standard 4K to come out, whatever. We'll probably get one eventually in Australia, but like, I can
Yeah.
import one, whatever. But then they had this really nice looking steelbook set with the original artwork and all these booklets and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself. Why not? Like my
Yeah.
birthday's in October anyway, so I'm always
Uh,
like, treat yourself. It's October. It's spooky month. Best time of year. So yeah, I don't know. I it's always a mix. Like I used to order from Zavvi a lot back when that.
yeah,
I mean,
same.
they do now. They do sell stuff to Australia again, physical wise, which is nice. But
Mm.
when before they cut us off for a year or so, I used to rely a lot on them, and that their pre-order stuff was always you only pay once it's ready to be released, like once it's ready to be
Yes.
shipped. And that
Yep.
was great. Now we've got like paying for and after pay and stuff. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I usually just use that now a lot of the time.
Same.
So I'm like,
Yep.
but yeah, it can depend on the film. If I really want the film, I'll find some way to pre-order it. It's never
Yeah.
usually just one film. Like even like Exodus, like I mentioned, I bought that with a couple other films. So it's
Yep.
like saves on shipping, whatever, and
Yeah.
I don't care if it takes a bit longer for them to come in. Eventually I get them and I'm happy. Like, I'm not getting paid to review this shit, so I can just enjoy it on my own time. So yeah,
Yeah. I always
that's
bulk buy as well.
yeah.
It's probably the better way, especially when you're importing. And I have to
Mm.
ask what date your birthday is in October, because my birthday's in October as well.
It's the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah. 16th. So
Oh yeah.
I've
That
I've been treating myself all year, so I cannot use my birthday as an excuse
I
to
gotta
treat
be honest,
myself.
the 16th I'm pretty sure was my due date.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the 16th. Yeah, 16th or the 18th. I was a couple days late. Mum has never let up about that.
I don't know oh, really?
But mine's now a week before Halloween, which is nice. So
Yeah,
and
that
it took me
works out well.
years to give a shit about Halloween. I didn't care until my first year of uni, I think, or maybe my
Right.
last year of high school. I just only know because my brother had a girlfriend and she had a Halloween party, so we went to that, and I was just like, and it was just like a few people watching some movies, and I just bought a bunch of movies because I was like, I've got Rocky Horror, I've got Alien, I've got all these like
Oh
classic
yeah.
horror films. We didn't watch any of them
Yeah,
because they had other
yeah.
films they wanted to watch, but I'm like,
Uh,
suddenly I realized. A, Halloween's a thing, and B, because there's
yeah.
a bunch of kids doing trick-or-treating, which I'd never seen before, and it was the year before we moved down to where we are now, so it was like
Hmm.
we get it a lot more now because the people in the area are a lot younger, so we got
Right.
people who are raising their kids with Halloween, despite the fact that none of us are American. So
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
us are either Australian or Asian or something. So like, yeah, so it's like it's multicultural, but it's never American, which is so funny to me.
It's definitely growing out here. Is my dad used
Hmm.
to, we're not fucking American. We're not doing Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, my
Yeah.
mum used to complain as well. And then I mentioned, well, firstly, it's actually a British tradition. And secondly, then the kids started knocking. And she realized, oh my God, I love watch like the kids in their costumes and stuff. And it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, who'd have thought? Like, I like that too, but I'm also like, it's Halloween. I'm trying to watch my fucking movie. I just spent my day at work. I don't want to be dealing with kids.
I'm
Ugh.
constantly pausing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. No,
I have to be selective. Here's a Halloween film I've watched a bunch. I can just pause it, go deal with the kids, or I just sit there helping the kids, whatever, and then after an hour or two, bring in all the decorations,
that's
watch
it.
two horror movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
just
but
turn the
that's
lights out and pretend I'm not home, and
yeah,
no one knocks. That's good.
yeah, yeah. We've
Yeah.
got a whole setup to make sure the kids know because you get along house, you don't have a proper veranda and whatever, so half the
Hmm.
time people don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I put up some decorations, make it obvious,
Yeah.
and
Cool.
like webbing the house up and shit. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome that
Yeah.
you get into it. That's I don't think I ever. I'm too old to get into it now, but yeah,
I
it's
mean, I didn't start till I was, I think, 21, and that was just because my partner was
okay.
like, "You got to have a birthday for your 21st." I'm like, "All right, sure." Like, I didn't give a shit for birthday parties. I gave
Yeah,
up on that in
yeah.
my late high school years because by the time I was having birthdays and by my 16th, it was exam season in high school, so it was just like
Mm,
nobody cared to actually hang out with you. So it was my
yeah.
18th, I was alone the whole day until my family got home. I ended up watching TV shows, went to JB, bought films, like that was my happy thing. And so now
Yeah.
after my 21st, it was like, actually, I'll buy some decorations, make the house look spooky. And, it's, I've gotten the family into it, so they are okay with having some skeletons hanging around the house for a month,
Okay.
as long as I clean it up afterwards.
Yeah.
So they put
Yeah.
in the work, you got to take it down. It's just like
Yeah,
Christmas. Yeah.
exactly.
So.
Right. How long do you leave him up for when you take
I
him down?
oh,
I think you
it's
said,
it's
sorry.
usually like the day after Halloween or whatever. Like once
Yeah.
it's November 1st, my mum's like, take this shit down. Like unless
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
having a
yeah.
party or something, which I usually go to people's places. I don't usually have people come over. It's just immediately like, yep, okay, we can take this stuff down now. Like
Yeah.
Christmas, where it's like my dad puts up the tree 2 days before Christmas and then puts it down again a month later. I don't know. We're too
Yeah, that's
lazy
the
to put
thing.
it up, but then we're too
That's
lazy to
what
bring it down.
that's why I asked, because Christmas sometimes the shit will be up until mid-January. It's like, I
Yeah.
can't be bothered. Because it's
Yeah,
holiday season. The last thing you want to do is shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we don't even we can't be bothered putting up at the start of the month anymore, which is when you
No.
should. You should put it up at the first day of December, and then we just put it up 2 days before Christmas because we've got people coming over. We don't really
Yeah.
care half the time, you
Yeah.
know?
No,
Like I
I,
love presents. I love wrapping stuff and putting that
mm,
stuff around. Like my day job is packing. Like I love that stuff. I don't know why, but it's just
okay.
I get a kick out of it, and I guess sure, put a tree on top of it. Why not?
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So.
I try to do stuff for the kids. My kids didn't have a very exciting Christmases, to be honest, decorating growing up. No, neither me or their mum were really into that. So it was yeah, I feel sorry for them in a way. Anyway, that's all good. I'll
Yeah.
move on. I'll move on. Does packaging influence your collection? Like, do you? I mean, I know you mentioned about steelbooks before, but do you care much about slipcovers or collector editions? Is it
I respect collector editions because I like, different artwork. Same with slip covers and stuff. If a slip cover has different artwork underneath, then I really like it. Like imprints releases and stuff like that. Even the occasional Screen Factory or Kino, where as long as the sleeve has different artwork underneath it and whatever, because I
Mhm.
just love different artwork, reversible stuff, whatever. Same as steelbooks, same as collector's editions. But I've always had the argument that like I don't care much for slipcovers unless they're from the US, only because the US
Okay?
cases are so cheap and shit that I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, I can respect the slipcovers, but I'm also not pedantic about it. If I get a release that doesn't have a slipcover, I'm not gonna complain because I know a lot of people who do. I
yeah,
don't know, it's so almost second nature for at least Americans to complain if they don't get a slipcover. And I'm
yeah.
like, what does it matter? It's a piece of cardboard. But then
It's
you
strange,
see
right?
how shitty their cases are half of the time. They don't even have plastic behind the discs. It's just two little things to connect to the disc clamp, and then it's just there's like paper underneath. I'm like, the disc can
Yeah,
break. Who designs this shit?
yeah,
So I feel like half the time cases are meant to be recycled. That's why they've got a big recycle sign in them. It's so stupid. But
yeah.
like,
Why would you do that?
yeah, but like, Umbrella's releases, for example, they have some great sleeves with alternate artwork on the inside. Their Beyond
Hmm.
Genre stuff was great.
Yeah, it
But I do,
was.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I do like collector sets that come with the extra, like arrows and whatever. And even they're
Hmm.
now doing sleeves on top of slip covers that are on top of regular cases that also have alternate artwork and cards and posters and booklets. So it's like an extra layer of cardboard to just enclose things in, which is bloody weird. But I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Sure, why not? It looks a bit
Yeah,
glossier.
I get it. It's a cool to have. It's like it's
Yeah,
cool to. It's not a must, but yeah, it's cool to have if they're going to give it to you and you're paying for it anyway. So yeah,
yeah.
that's fair. Coming towards the end, then, because I don't. Well, this is the first time we've met. To anyone
Mm.
who's listening to this, what are your favorite films? I'm gonna steal from Letterboxd.
Mm.
What are your four favorites on Letterboxd?
My four favorites currently are not even my four favorite films. I'll give you both because currently
Yeah,
my
give me
four
both.
favorites on.
And I'm gonna add you to Letterboxd while we're here, actually.
Ah, yes. Well, my current four favorites are Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Oh,
Little Shop of Horrors, the 80s version, the remake, Challenges, and
okay.
Matilda. Those are my current four favorites. Those are just because I love Creature from Black Lagoon. I adore the creature.
It's a cool movie. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
And like I've always loved the Gill Man. I've got a signed poster from Rico Browning as well. Just all this. I've got right next to me is just a whole shelf of Creature from the Black Lagoon stuff, mixed with
Yeah,
a bunch of
nice.
Universal monsters. I think because that film in particular, my dad had like raised me on like Frankenstein and Bride and
Hmm.
Dracula and the Mummy, and Wolfman and
That's
whatever, but never the creature. It was also never the Invisible Man, but I always knew what the Invisible Man was. So it
yep,
wasn't
yep.
until my teens that I discovered the Gill Man and then watched the creature films. I'm like, I love this guy. He's just so goddamn cool. But yeah, so those are my
I
four
love that.
current favorites for like even my letterbox profile picture is the creature from Black.
How do I find you? What
I
plug your letterbox
I
and I'll put you
am Julian234. The number's
two,
two
three,
three four.
four.
Yeah, I'm a
Oh,
Patreon,
yep.
so I can
Gotcha.
change my I change the posters. It's bloody cool, and I'm rich
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I'm too tight to pay for Patreon. I'll just be whatever is below that.
My favorite four movies
Oh,
that I used,
Matilda.
yeah,
Did you
Matilda.
mention Matilda?
Yeah, Matilda was one that I only watched for the first time this year because my
It's
my friend had been watching it and when I went over to their place and I watched a bit. I'm like, this looks really fun, and I watched it. I'm like,
Matilda's
this is
great.
great, and I bought the
Yeah.
4K Steelbook only because there's only a 4K
Oh,
Steelbook. So annoying. It's like
I
it's a
didn't know there was a
Steelbook.
4K for Matilda.
Yeah, it's only in steelbook form, which is another weird thing that occasionally they will only release a steelbook for a film, and I'm like, it's still a
Yeah.
nice enough steelbook. It's not the best design. Like the inside design's great, the outside is questionable, but I still really like the film, so I'm keen to rewatch that 4K. But
Yeah.
Challenges is my favorite film for this year currently, so that's why.
It's my favorite for
I've
this year too.
yeah, I love the score too. I film sport
Mm.
on weekends, so I just have to have
Ah,
that
okay.
score played. It's so pretentious listening to a film score about tennis and then that. And I'll have it play at work sometimes because again, I work in a warehouse and like we have a speaker, and if I put it on, one of like the first song in it ends with a phone alarm going off. And every time someone's like, "Is someone's phone going off?" And I'm like, it's just
Ah,
the soundtrack."
that's funny.
Yeah, and then Little Shop is because I've always loved the
Yep.
movie. We
Mate,
did a
little
production in high school. We watched it this year at the Cinemaniacs because it was my Lee's birthday, and because he'd only passed a few weeks prior. Just it was just a really special screening for us, and I also was introducing it to like four of my friends, including my partner. None of them had seen it, and it was the director's cut. So it had
ah,
all the big monsters at the end. I'm like, and it was on the big screen. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. So
yeah.
it was a beautiful occasion for it. So that's
Wow.
just why that's currently there. But my top four actual favorites: Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite film.
Oh, wow.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Alien, and The Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm always happy with those. It's always Scott Pilgrim, it's always Blade Runner. Alien is always just up there. I've got a list on my letterbox where which
I
I'm
never
pretty
ever
sure.
got Scott Pilgrim. I mean, all of your selections that you're talking about, I love every one that you've talked about,
Mm,
except Scott Pilgrim. But it is, I own the 4K and I need to rewatch it because I just didn't, I guess I didn't understand it, I would imagine.
That's perfectly fair. Look, I watched the film when it had like it hit TV one day and it was like Foxtel and I'd never heard of it, even though I'd seen a couple Edgar Wright films. I'd already seen
Hmm.
Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz by that stage.
Mm.
And I watched it and I really liked it. And then it was my first ever Blu-ray that I bought. And I watched it like once every year basically. Bought the 4K, I've bought tons of steelbooks for it. I think if any film I have the most in the collection is either The Thing or Scott Pilgrim. I think I've got several. I'm still trying to find these goddamn movies. No, that's top 10 most watched. Where are my top 10 favorites? Oh, Evil Dead 2. God damn it, I always forget about that.
Evil Dead 2.
My HDMI cable from my monitor out there.
Yes, it's currently plugged into the TV. I like the switch.
I need it. Can you get
Okay.
it, please?
Do I have to do it?
Did you steal a HDMI cable?
Well, he stole it from me. It's the Nintendo one for the Switch. I'm like, he doesn't need this. I've
Mate,
had
I
that for
can.
like a month. I don't know why it's taking him so goddamn long.
That's
Yeah, so Evil Dead 2, I always forget that. That's what it's pinned. Currently I've got this list that I haven't edited for probably a couple years now where it's Blade Runner, Evil Dead 2, The Thing, and Scott Pilgrim, and then Alien. But yeah, I feel like it's either The Thing or Alien, but Evil Dead 2's in there. Oh God, why do I always forget about Evil Dead 2?
I've only seen
And,
those the once, and again, I've got the box set of those on Blu-ray,
mm,
including Army of Darkness.
I
Army of Darkness is fucking mad. It's so cool.
It's surprisingly my least favorite of the three, but it's just because it's like because
It's fucking bizarre.
I
It's
still really
very
like it. I
weird.
love the director's cut of it, but yeah, no, with Scott Pilgrim, yeah, it's just I don't know. I read the comics in high school. I just became to love it, and like it's one of those films. It's like, if you relate to Scott Pilgrim, you don't realize that he's the bad guy, and then you realize he's the bad guy. Like I came to that conclusion eventually. I was like, Scott's kind of an asshole. Like he's not a
Yeah, I
good
was.
person.
Yeah, I
A
was.
lot of people don't realize that. I'm like, it's okay. He's not a great guy. It's
I
like the
listened
whole
to a
deal.
podcast called Recotopia. It's the guys who do Cinema Sins, and they
Mm.
were talking about Scott Pilgrim the other day on just come up in what they weren't talking about the film specifically, but it came up in part of what they were saying, and because they answer audience questions. Anyway, they were saying how Scott's double comes in and how he's actually really nice.
Yeah, he's the nigger Scott.
Because he's
Yeah,
the
is yeah.
because he's the opposite. Because Scott is actually an asshole,
Yeah.
and I was listening to think, okay, I do need to really watch this again
Yeah. It's surprising that people didn't realize it. And I'm like,
yeah.
it's kind of obvious. Like none
'Cause
of he doesn't respond to his friends most of the time. He's really
mm,
disrespectful of so many of them. They all
yeah,
refer to him being kind of not a great guy before the film started, like a bit of an alcoholic as well.
right.
And then it's like most of these are taken from the comics, especially. But it's like it's kind of interesting how this film is like. He has a throwaway line where like he fought really hard to date Kim, like he beat up like 100 guys and whatever. And
Mm,
they did make an animation of that, but in the comics,
mm,
he did do that. He just
right.
beat up a bunch of people because they kidnapped Kim, and it's just like, what? I mean, it did happen, but it also is like it's kind of stupid.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's why I like the animated TV show that they did last year because they like killed off Scott after the first episode, and it was like
Is that
what like it's
right?
suddenly like they're doing like the first book and whatever, and then he gets in the first fight with Dev Patel and he just kills him, and then it's just like the next episode, Scott's funeral. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh my god, this is crazy! Like it's just I thought it was gonna be an adaptation of the comics. It's just like nope, we're doing something completely different. I'm like, I love that. The comics is its own thing, the movie is its own thing, the show is its own thing, and I love that so much.
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian Lee O'Malley's got a hell of a mindset for doing that. So yeah,
that was on Netflix, wasn't it? Because I
yes,
remember Edgar Wright posting about it on his socials. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, never checked it. I got rid of Netflix a while back.
yeah. Should
Yeah.
I quickly grab this bloody HDMI cable? I'll take two.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Julian. It's been awesome having you on. I really appreciate you sharing your time with us and
Yeah,
well, me and our listeners. I hope you had some fun. I know I did.
yeah.
And
I always like bragging about myself. It's great. It does
yeah,
wonders for the ego.
you sound like you've got some good shit anyway. And I love talking about it. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's fascinating stuff. It is a weird kink of mine to know about other people's collections. So,
That's perfectly fair. Like I have my
yeah.
own show where I occasionally interview people about whatever their profession is, but it's always just I like learning this stuff, and I just happen to be able to film it at the same time. So,
Yeah.
thank
Well,
God. Yeah.
yeah. Well, on that note, what do you want to plug? What else? Yeah. Let our listeners know what else you're up to.
Yeah, well, I've got the YouTube channel Collector Creations, which I've been running for too many years now. It was so funny watching mid-level media do his videos talking about, I've been doing this for 5 years. When will I quit? I'm like, bro, I've been doing this for 9 years and I don't know
Uh,
what's happening anymore. But yeah, so Collector Creations is the channel. Used to be Telecreations, but I changed it because that was a bad name. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well. I don't use whatever that Twitter platform is. I still have an account. I
yeah.
don't bloody use it, but
Mm-hmm.
but
Same.
Instagram, I post every once in a while, but I'm always adding to my story the short films I'm watching. And yeah, Facebook, I just post about what my videos are because it just makes it easier for friends on Facebook to see. But yeah, no, it's just YouTube, which is great, works well enough for me. I do
Awesome.
videos about physical media. I occasionally talk about films, which I usually prefer to do, but I love doing physical media stuff as well. It gets
Yeah.
good of reception, so yeah, it's always fun.
Definitely keen to check that out. Sounds great. So, dear listener, if you have enjoyed this episode, give me a follow at KerbSide Collections on Instagram. You can also hit me up at KerbRider on Letterboxd. And you heard Julian talk about his Letterboxd before as well. If you are a collector and would like to be on the show, send me a DM and I'd love to have you on the show and learn all about your collection as well. Until next time, thanks for listening to KerbSide Collections.